If we are anticipating higher levels of inflation and as a result higher interest rates, your portfolio should be adjusted accordingly. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to talk about what has happened. Some of the changes have been subtle, but for those paying attention, this is very clear, it's distinct, and we are going to talk about that today. I'm going to highlight what has happened here with the gas shortage that was taking place, which even though the pipeline is back up and running, there are still problems. Just like the Suez Canal, it doesn't take a day to turn things back around. And that really leads me to the point of people needing to be more self-sufficient. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to have a farm, grow your own food, and live off grid, but we should be prepared for these type of events, whatever that might be. And that means allocating some of your capital to this possibility that things don't work out in, what everybody believes, that everything's always going to get better and better. If we have made those preparations, put those things in place, hedge our bets, always create a backup plan, we're going to do better than the majority. That's the point here. So let's get into the details right now. First, I wanted to begin with Cathie Wood. She is, of course, on everybody's mind because as you can see with a stock like Tesla being down 20% from its peak this year, you're seeing Cathie Wood fans buckling up as ETF assets fall to $40 billion. Flagship fund ARK, ARKK, falls more than 35% from February's peak. Minimal outflows in 2021 show followers are sticking to the funds. And actually, if you look at the chart here, I'll try to move my head out of the way. And essentially, you're seeing right here in this corner, I'll pull out the highlighter, that there have been outflows. There's no doubt about it. This is showing you 214 in the millions of dollars. And essentially, what we are noting over this period is that there has been obvious concern that maybe this did go up a little bit too fast, talking about Tesla, talking about the other high growth stocks. And as a result, let's take some profits. But as they mentioned in the top left corner here, ARK dip buyers help offset the outflows amid the funds drop. So we always have to be aware of what's happening, where the money is moving to and from. And you're going to get a lot of this data from the EPFR. If you watch some of the alternative news, they just don't know where things are coming from. So be careful. Be absolutely very careful where you're getting information from, because a lot of them are actually garbage. And I'm going to start to speak out about them in the near future. I've got real bone to pick with what's been happening and the lack of education that is going on right now, because people, they tune away from the mainstream for obvious reasons, but then they go to the alternative, and quite frankly, it is terrible to say the least. Chainsaw massacre, tree poaching hits Canada amid lumber shortage. Look at this. Officials on Vancouver Island say that at least 100 trees have been illegally chopped down, leaving one stump with a face carved into it. That's kind of some psycho stuff. But looking at what's been happening here, you got the price going so high. So people are doing this kind of thing, and it just shows you what we can have when the prices get very, very erratic. Take a look at this. The previous video I had done, I talked about how prices have risen like we haven't seen in the last decade, but actually in a month over month, looking at this, we haven't seen this since 1981, I think it was. Looking at this chart here, it's actually showing us back into the 90s, but I believe I read 1981 was the last time we saw the month over month increase. It depends on what we are including exactly when you look at the data. In this case here, it's the CPI Urban Consumers Core month over month. The blue line there is also showing you the consumers less food and energy. Depends the stats that you use. Anyway, but just showing us how seriously fast things can get out of hand. That's the point. That's why we need to make preparations in advance, because if we're waiting for the last second, it's too late, okay? And simply doing a few clicks on your online brokerage account is not what I'm talking about here. But of course, that's important as well. Virginia gas station charges nearly $7 a gallon You can't do that to people. And that's what they're saying here in this article. I think this is something that people should be watching out for, not just the price gouging, not just what's happening necessarily with the potential for a shortage, but of course, we need to understand that prices are likely to rise. Go back 50 years ago. There are not many things that are around the same price that we have today. Of course, silver might be one of those instances, but just looking at any different commodity, anything that we buy in our lives. In 1970, you had a period of time where you could have one person in the household working. You could have a house being either completely paid off or about to be paid off at some point in the near future. You've got people living relatively good lives, comfortable lives on one salary. Today, you've got two people working and they've got $1 million mortgage. Why? Because the amount of debt, it's so cheap. This makes it affordable. Not at all. Interest rates were significantly higher during that period. Of course, they got higher into 1980, but that's not the point. It's not the interest rates that is going to be, I'm unable to afford it. No, because the prices would come down. Everybody wants the wages to go up. But why aren't we asking, why are prices this high in the first place? Why is it possible to have $7 a gallon gas? I mean, yes, you got the price gouging. Yes, you got the shortages. But just look around. You're seeing places around the world that have the equivalent to $6 a gallon, $5 a gallon. Either way, it's expensive. And looking at this, gasoline pinch may grind on for a week or more amid truck shortage. So look, the thing goes on, and everything's in a shortage apparently. Whether that's contrived, whether it's being, some people say that this is on purpose or not. What I care about is what affects you, your wallet, your personal situation, your personal finances, because they're telling you one thing. They're basically forcing you to become a pedal to the metal, risk on investor, investing in meme tokens so that you can simply keep up with the Joneses, or as I love to say, the Kardashians. And then a couple quick notes just to look at this. Average US gas price at the pump haven't been at these levels since 2014. There's always going to be fluctuations, as you can tell, but I think it's just something to look at, something to understand that you have to pay more for the same services. In fact, if you look at a lot of the services, they're not as good as they used to be. If you buy an appliance, if you buy, back in the day you would buy a VCR, let's say, or, now today you're buying some sort of electronic equipment. When that thing breaks, you don't take it to the repair shop anymore. You don't get the screwdriver out and try to figure out the insides. You literally take it and you throw it in the garbage. I mean, things have really, really changed. The quality of a lot of the products have declined significantly over the years. And as a result, we're paying higher prices. I mean, that's the absolute fact. No, you're not going to be using the VHS, but you're still paying higher prices for a lot of the different things. That's just an example. Colonial Pipeline paid $5 million ransom to hackers. So initially I heard no, they didn't pay anything. And then you get this report. Who knows what's true? But I think it's just important to see, all of this, which has led us to this point. And one of the things that I'm seeing every single day is the real estate prices and how high they have gone. I was, a lot of people criticize me saying, why are you only focusing on San Francisco, Toronto, and, New York and all these different places that have extremely high housing prices? Now look what happened. You look around and all of the smaller satellite towns, you get the tertiary cities and so on, that these places are now skyrocketing even faster than the other ones. Why? Because the prices, of course, were lower. This gives investors a chance to come in. This gives people who are making money in the big cities, they're moving out to the smaller cities and towns and driving up the prices sky high. In 38 years of buying and selling homes, check this out, I haven't witnessed a market like it. There have been stories of buyers paying $14,000 equivalent plus, just look at this, just to be able to view a property. Give us a chance to view the property and we will pay you, 10,000 pounds. This is a UK information, but I mean, this has never happened before like this. You want to talk about a bubble? No, Not here. No, this is not a bubble. Sorry, I said that word. I'm gonna be quiet. GPS, stop. Don't say that. Okay. And then we have this. Some luxury markets have been significant increases in the number of homes for sale. Most of these dense urban areas with a large proportion of condos and co-ops or single-family houses on small lots. Several neighborhoods in LA saw a large uptick in inventory, as did New York, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, Seattle, and Boston. And essentially, they're just trying to talk about the different, there's the disparity in some of the areas around the United States and really what has happened with real estate as a result. And that brings me to the money GPS insights. What we need to understand, number one, is that the markets are now more fearful of inflation because that time frame is getting closer and closer where they believe that, this is going to be starting to actually become, real, that this is, of course, going to spook the markets. Their markets are still rising up high because they know that you're not going to have anything coming out around from the Fed for now, but the fear is truly getting real. And then we have number two. You got to understand that the Federal Reserve during this period of time has been very adamant about the fact that there will be no rate hike. Don't worry. You're seeing, all the Fed presidents, you're seeing all these different people coming out there. No rate hike, ensuring that the public stays calm. And then we have number three. If we are expecting that this is going to be inflationary and this whole business is going to change and you can look at everything basically flipping on its head, you got to understand what has happened up until this point. You've pulled all of that growth from the future to the present because of low interest rates. So as a result, you should be tweaking your portfolio. This is absolutely critical to understand, and you could see from the previous cycles how other major investors had done these actions, had looked into that further and actually been able to, who were successful, the people who were successful at that were able to make sure that they did not lose big during these periods of time. Okay, and your friends and mine at the Federal Reserve, $7.8 trillion. It continues to get worse and worse and worse. Also, you are seeing directly from the New York Fed website, haven't brought this up to you in a while, but the repo and reverse repo operations. If I zoom in, let me make sure I'm showing you this right point here. Looking at this, Thursday, May 13th, check it out, $235 billion. That is something that we have not seen in a long time. This is starting to pick up again. For a whole long period of time, there wasn't any usage here as the quantitative easing took in effect. So we saw during that period, 2019, you looked at the repo operations, repo crisis occurring. That started to really get, picking up. And then when you had the official QE come in, then that sort of reversed. So I'm looking at this very carefully. I'll bring you some more updates. For now, I just wanted to show you that. I think I have the chart. Yeah, I have the chart right here. Let me move out of the way. You could see right now what has happened over this, basically the last 2 or 3 months. I think that's something to note, of course, because this type of activity is worrisome because unlike what they were trying to hide during the repo crisis, this is a very real scenario that people should be aware of. Quick updates. Bitcoin drops after report, Binance under US probe, and Tesla also changing their stance on Bitcoin as well. This, of course, is complete opposite with what we see here. Steve Cohen's 0.72 is poised to make a big crypto market entrance. So we are seeing these big establishments buying in, a lot of them, and you are noticing that there's this huge swing in the price that took place just recently, and I want to see what's going to happen. I don't have any particular details or predictions and so on, but I just bring you the information, okay? I think it's really key to see all of that. Look, I need to tell you something. If you want to be able to ensure that you're getting this information from me on a daily basis, you've got to sign up to the Insiders. The Insiders is basically a way for for me to communicate to you directly. It's completely free, obviously. You just drop your email in there and I'm going to be able to send you an email every day, 5 days a week, and you're going to get the daily video. Why? Because a lot of people do not see my videos. So this is going to be a way to get around their systems. I've got other things in play, so just stay with me on that. I hope you support me on this. I know what I'm doing. I'm working hard at this. I'm gonna try my best to bring you this hard-hitting content constantly, and I will not stop. It's gonna be every single day. So check it out at themoneygps.com. If you like the video, you've got to hit the thumbs up button. That's how you show not just me, but of course others as well. We need to help this algorithm and get it going. All right. If you want a free e-course, completely 100% free, teaching you how to sell stuff online, the AmazonGPS.com. Have you seen my books? If not, I would highly recommend checking them out. Maybe not just for you, maybe a family member, friend, coworker, and so on. You can go to themoneygps.com as well for that. And if you have not, you've got to watch this video. I've got a lot of details, a lot of content in there to check out. Click it, and I'll see you there.